Hello everybody, welcome back to the show, and I finally have 4 diamonds, which I need in order to make a farming station, and I need a farming station in order to have better power with EnderIO. In fact, I have 1 extra diamond. Not exactly sure what I'm going to do with it yet. But anyway, I am going to get together the items that I'm going to need, and I will see you in just a bit. Okay, what I'm going to be using to generate power is 2 key components. One is the vat, which looks like this, and the other is the combustion generator. Now, the vat requires water and some power. I've put a Stirling generator here. I burnt 1 piece of charcoal, so this vat now has 16,000 RF in it. Now, this is just for demonstration purposes. I want to show how much power we're going to generate. Now, the vat can make 4 different types of fluids. There's hooch, rocket fuel, nutrient distillation, and fire water. Now, rocket fuel requires gunpowder and redstone, and those are gunpowder. Of course, I'd have to have some type of creeper farm, which I don't have, and redstone, again, because of ore mining, precious commodity to me. Same thing with fire water, blaze powder, redstone. Same problem with redstone. Blaze powder, of course, the problem is no blazes. Nutrient distillation can be made with various sort of organic components. As you can see on this side, I can use sugar or fermented spider eyes, netherwort, or mushrooms. Netherwort I could make a farm for, I suppose, if I really wanted to. On this side, I need some type of either zombie head, creeper head, any of the skeleton skulls, or I could use raw beef or raw chicken. So again, that would require some type of animal farm. The easiest thing to make is actually hooch, and that only requires sugar and some type of organic compound. As you can see, I can use seeds, wheat, apples, potatoes, etc. Now you can see here it takes 10,000 RF to process something in the vat, and so I've got 16,000. And just to show you, I'm going to put in 1 potato and 1 sugar, and that should go ahead and start. It used 4 buckets of water. Water is a free resource, so that doesn't really matter anyway. And it's going ahead and processing, and when it's done, it will put 1 bucket of hooch over here on this side. Doesn't look like it's taking too long, but I'll be back when it's finished. Okay, as I mentioned, it created 1 bucket of hooch, and that was with 1 potato and 1 sugar. When you look at the recipe here, you'll see these multipliers, ×8. The sugar is just a ×1. The potato is a ×4. So I would require twice as many seeds, I think, to get the same result as 1 potato, I believe. I'm not exactly certain, but I think that that's the case. Anyway, now I have a bucket of hooch here, and I'll use one of my buckets. I believe I can just right-click on this, and yes, now I have a bucket of hooch. Once you have the hooch made, that's what goes into the combustion generator. The combustion generator also needs water, so let me fill this up first. So once it's full of water, I can put in my bucket of hooch like that. And as you can see, it's already starting to generate power. And it does generate 60 RF per tick. Over here it says 6 RF per tick. I'm not exactly sure why it says that, but it does generate 60 RF per tick. Now, it can store 100,000 RF, which is not enough. As you can see, it's quickly filling this up. And so I have made a capacitor bank, and I'm going to put that on the side, and so it will send all of its power into this capacitor bank. We can do the math here manually if we want. We use it takes 6 ticks per millibucket of hooch. So again, 1 bucket is 1,000 millibuckets. In other words, this is going to take 6,000 ticks to go through a bucket of hooch at 60 RF per tick. So if I take 6,000 times 60, I should produce 360,000 RF by the time all is said and done. And again, the combustion generator itself will only store 100,000, which is why I wanted to put down the capacitor, because the capacitor bank actually will store 5 million RF. And as you can see, we're just about to cross that 100,000 RF threshold. So again, one bucket of hooch should get for me 360,000 total RF, and I'll be back when it's done processing it all. And as you can see, 360,000 total RF was produced from that one bucket of hooch, plus it produced it at 60 RF per tick, which of course is more than the Stirling generator, which only generates at 20 RF per tick, or with a capacitor upgrade was generating at 40 RF per tick. Now, the vat does not have an ability to be upgraded with a capacitor, and neither does the combustion generator, so that's something that's important to remember as well. Now, I've put in my farm right here, and the farm is going to be responsible for, obviously, for growing the sugar and the potatoes that will be used in the vat. And I don't know if I made it obvious, but 360,000 RF, it did take 10,000 RF to make the bucket of hooch in the vat, so that's a net gain of 350,000 RF. Now, it's not quite that much because I'm going to need to be powering a farm and something called a crafter here in a bit, but basically, as you can see, it's going to generate a lot of power for me. So as I said, the farm will be growing sugar on the north side of the farm and potatoes on the south side of the farm. And you can see that's how I have it configured. South is potatoes and north side is sugar. Now, I didn't know this before, but the farm does use durability on the hoe every time it harvests anything. So that's a little bit of a negative. Obviously, if you were doing this by hand, you wouldn't have to use a hoe every time you chop down sugar or potatoes. But, you know, it's a trade-off for having an automated farming system. So now this is all torn up. I will, of course, be patching this all up when everything is done, but at this point, I still need to get to the wiring, of course. So the next thing I'm going to do is run some item conduits to put all of the stuff that the farm produces into a chest. Now, having a chest, because I'm concerned about overflow, probably isn't really necessary, but at the same time I figure, why risk the possibility that something happens and I lose items for some reason? So there I have things coming out of the farm and into this chest. The next issue I'm going to have, of course, is that the sugar cane, the sugar reeds, need to be turned into regular sugar. And that's where something called the crafter comes in. The crafter is pretty much what you would expect. It's an automatic crafting machine. It does work on power. As you can see, it requires 2500 RF each time it crafts. But you can put in any type of recipe, such as, do I have anything here that I can make a recipe with? No, I can go like this, I guess. Oops, like that. And so this side, you put in what you're wanting to make, and it'll show, and obviously it will show what it will make, and then the items will come in to this spot and be made this way, and obviously the same controls as far as hooking things up and whatnot. So I will be using the, whoa, wrong button. I will be using the crafter to create sugar from the sugar reeds. So here I have the crafter hook set next to the storage where the potatoes and sugar cane are going to come from the farm, and I have the crafter hooked up to power. I'm currently out of power. All of the power that I had generated went into the farm, which is using it up, and that's okay. But, and as you can see here, I've set up the crafter very simply. Make sugar out of sugar canes. Fairly simple. And then I've configured this side here to be a push and a pull. In other words, it will pull in, or let's see. Anyway, it will take what it needs out of this chest and then craft sugar reeds into sugar and then put it back into this chest. So you can see here, I can put I can put anything in here, essentially, and nothing will happen because the crafting recipe is set to the sugar canes only. If I put a sugar cane in here, you will see in just a little bit, it will disappear, and now it's over here. It can't craft because it doesn't have any power, but it obviously does work the way it's supposed to. When it does have power, it will craft it and then take that sugar and put it right back into the chest. Now on the other side of the chest, I've put the vat. And I should be able to do the same thing here if I configure the I/O, although in this case there's no output to go out towards the chest. All I need is to pull stuff in, and you can see it pulled in potatoes right off the bat. It couldn't pull in any sugar, of course, because I don't have any over there, but let's test it. If I take this sugar cane out of here and manually convert it into sugar and then put it in here, I should see it come out. And it did, and now it's currently working at producing the hooch. Now it won't be able to because there's not enough power in here, but clearly you can see that it is configured and set up to work properly, in that it will only take potatoes and sugar out of here. Obviously, if I put anything else in here, the EnderIO vat is smart enough to know that it can't take those items. So using the configuration on the sides like this and telling it you can pull or push things out of the chest, it's not going to just take everything out of the chest just because it's in there. It's still only going to take what it can use. Now, this vat requires water, as does the combustion generator. And to provide water, what we're going to use is something called a reservoir. Now, the reservoir is a block, but you need to make 4 of them. It's not an expensive recipe necessarily to make. Where is it at? Right there. It does require a cauldron. Actually, you have to make 2. You have to make this recipe twice because, again, you have to make 4. So it does require a cauldron, and I think it's about, to make this, you need nether quartz. I think I need to use 16 nether quartz and about 14 pieces of iron and then some glass. And the reservoir acts as a infinite water source. That's why there's 4 blocks. You put it in a 2x2 as if you were making sort of the traditional infinite water source. I'm gonna put it, I think, just right here is probably a good enough spot as any. Once you put the 2x2, it will form. And then to start things off, you need to put 2 buckets of water into it. So we'll do 1 and 2. And then once you do that, you'll see it fill all the way up. And now it's an infinite water source. I can use buckets on it and take out a bucket of water, and you can see it will refill right back up. So it's the same as an infinite water source, only you can make it vertically or you can make it horizontally, and you can hook conduits to it, which is the nice thing. And so I've made some fluid conduits here, and I'm going to hook these up to the pieces of machinery I need to hook them up to. All right, I've run my fluid conduits. Again, I can run as many conduits as I want. Well, there's only 4 kinds of conduits, but I can run the conduits in 1 block space. So this is really nice for saving the way I'm doing things. And as you can see right now, there is no water in the tank. I've set this side, I've set this side to be insert. As you can see, insert. And the moment I set this side to extract with always active, it will begin putting water into this tank. There it goes. And I'm about to get killed by a creeper. This is bad. Oh, well, fortunately, okay. Oh my gosh, that scared me. I thought I was going to lose all my stuff here. Oh, I gotta calm down a bit. Okay, that was actually a telecreeper. Telecreeper is a mob added by EnderIO, and when it blows up, it teleports you. As you can see, I ended up slightly over there, and I'm beginning to believe my friend Shenanigans suggested the idea that the EnderIO mobs are attracted to EnderIO devices, and considering that that was an EnderIO mob, maybe that's true. I don't know. Okay, so as I said, this is set and it has filled up with water. It doesn't move fluids extremely quickly, but it's quick enough for the purposes of this. So now I have water being supplied to this vat, which is good. And I still need to run a power conduit out of it so that it will take the... Oh, no, I don't. My mistake. The only thing now I'll need to do is I need to run another conduit out of it that will carry another fluid conduit, out of it that will carry the hooch that it generates. Now, as you might guess, one combustion generator at 60 RF per tick is great, but it's probably still not going to be sufficient for all the power needs that I have. I will hopefully be able to run some of this power over to my tree farm, which struggles for power as it is. So I have made 4 combustion generators. Now, I won't be able to run all 4 of these at maximum rate right off the bat. It will take some time to build up to that point. Not a whole lot of time, but it will take a little bit of time. But I'm going to try to do this with these 4 combustion generators. Now I have to hook them up to water. Okay, now each one of my combustion generators is getting enough water, which is great. Now I have to pipe the hooch that's created by the vat into the combustion generators. Now, as I've mentioned many times already, I can put all 4 of the conduits in one space. And that's item, power, fluid, and redstone conduits. But I can't put 2 of the same kind, so I can't put 2 fluid conduits in the same space. It doesn't do that. So sadly here what I'm going to need to do is run another pipe, and I'm going to go up top with it. So it won't look too terribly great, but it's just what needs to be done for now. And now that is set up. So I have a farming station which will grow sugar reeds and potatoes. Send those to this chest. This crafting machine will take out, I'm sorry, I can't call it a crafting machine, that's used by another mod. This crafter will take out the sugar reeds and turn them back into sugar, put them back in here. And the vat will take out the potatoes and the sugar, create hooch, and pipe that hooch into these combustion generators. And so now all I need to do is place down the capacitor bank where the power will get stored. Okay, so if I've done this right, the combustion generators are hooked up in power to the capacitor bank, which is just all along the same energy line. So in actuality, as the capacitor or the combustion generators produce power, they will probably be sending that back into the system first, but any excess power will then get stored into the capacitor bank. Now, obviously I need some power to start this off with because obviously nothing is happening right now. So I'm just going to plop down a Stirling generator and dump in some charcoal into it to kind of prime the system and get it going. I'm going to start this off with 6 pieces of charcoal. Hope that's enough to get it going. Once the system is working, it should be a self-sustaining system that produces an excess amount of power that will just get stored in the capacitor bank. But I do need to get it started, so I'm going to put that in there and let that burn. And hopefully stuff will start working here, and maybe I can see it doing stuff. Am I getting power there yet? Okay, I'm definitely creating power, and it's definitely going somewhere. Let me run over here. Okay, I am getting some power in the crafter. I'm not getting any power in the vat. Oh, I did not run wire up to the vat. There we go. Now I've got power in the vat. And I'm going to let this run for a little bit and see what happens. Well, while I'm waiting for this to see if it... Oh, looks like my combustion generators are working. Look at that. They do have some hooch in them. So I did produce some hooch. Not much, but there's some. It got set to these combustion generators. It wasn't enough to go to these 2. So I did produce something already. While I'm waiting for this to get going, obviously the growth rate of these crops is not maybe quite what I would want them to be. So I'm going to make them grow faster. And of course, the way I make the crops grow faster is again with these agri-carnations from the Botania mod. I've set down here, I believe it's 36 day blooms, which I think is the maximum amount I can put around 1 mana spreader. And of course it's feeding into this mana pool. And so I'm just going to plop down 2 agri-carnations just because that's all that I have. And you can see it's already starting to work. You can see the green particle effects taking place on the various crops at random. Obviously, this field of day blooms will only work in the daytime, but I think it's going to be plenty to just kind of make this farm grow things a little bit faster. All right, things are cooking, almost quite literally, since I'm using a combustion generator. As you see, the vat has got some potatoes and sugar in it. It's producing the hooch as fast as it can do so, and it's being piped. I'm using 3 out of the 4 combustion generators so far. That's because they're not all full. It will get to a point where when this generates enough, these will be getting full and all 4 of these will be going. But you can see that the vat is full on power. My crafter also full on power. The farming station full on power. And if I go look here, I am actually adding power to my capacitor bank, which is pretty cool. I actually wanted to see if I could catch the sugar being crafted in the crafter, but it appears to happen so quickly that I can't catch it on here even being crafted. It's being turned into the sugar fairly instantaneously. So pretty neat, right? I hope so. I might add a few more agrocarnations, which might make things grow even faster. And I can also expand this at some point in time. I can perhaps make another vat or add more combustion generators and create more power. You can see the reservoir, will go down every once in a while as as water gets sucked out of it and sent to one of the devices that requires it. But this is an almost automatic way of creating a pretty good amount of power. I'm already up to 300,000 RF storage stored up in the capacitor bank. The main problem here is that this iron hoe needs to be replaced every once in a while. I do think I have an idea on how I might automate that. I'm not sure if it will work, but it will involve the use of this guy here, a crafter. Not this crafter because it's already being used for something, but another crafter. Or multiple crafters in actuality. Well, it hasn't been very much time at all. And as you can see, I'm already up to 3.5 million RF. This system is producing RF fantastically. It's great. Looks like I'm a little short on the potatoes right now, as well as having something trying to attack me. But as you can see, combustion generator full, combustion generator full, combustion generator full, and combustion generator full, which means I'm producing 240 RF per tick. That's fantastically great. So I'm going to go ahead and cover up some spots here and let some more potatoes grow. And I'm going to clean up the rest of this. I'm going to put a fence around this so that I don't have mobs jumping in and around on my crops. Okay, there we go. Maybe not the best looking system in the world, but it's producing a ton of power. Now I just got to figure out a way to get that power to other parts of the base, most notably the tree farm. So leave me a comment and tell me what you think about my new power generation system. It's not the best thing in the world, but at least it's better than burning raw charcoal. But that's going to do it for this episode. As always, thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.